So let's take a look at the recruiting class from 2025. And no surprise that Mario Cristobal, good class. Rivals ranked him 13th. And so this is his expertise. 15 4-stars coming in this class, including, it looks like, one of their top players being a quarterback, Luke Nickel from Georgia. So talk about this class, and how many of these players do you think have a chance to even contribute this season?
A few will contribute this season. Let's be realistic. They got a pretty good, especially with the transfer portal imports, they've got pretty good depth up at the upper tiers of the depth chart. But, just looking at your screen, Luke Nickel is a young quarterback who's going to be really good. And, could break the mold, either he or Emory Williams next year could break the mold of going to the transfer portal for a quarterback.
It would be nice,
because both those guys are really, really good. I think Miami would like to get away from that if they could. You go to the portal and get quarterbacks, it's enormously expensive. I mean, Carson Beck's costing them $4 million this year. And, Cam Ward cost them a couple million last year. And that eats up a lot of your cap space, so to speak. So I think they would love to get to the point where they're developing their quarterbacks from within. But you can't play games with yourself either. You can't deceive yourself that you have something that you don't have. And the onus is on Luke Nickel, Emory Williams to develop this fall when the coaches get to December, they feel they've got what they need in that quarterback room, and they don't have to go shopping for a quarterback. It would help those kids. It would help the program to not have to spend that kind of money and apply that money to other areas of the roster. So we'll see what happens there. But just looking at your list here, the tight end, Luka Gilbert, I love. This kid's a legitimate 6'7". I think he's going to grow to like 265, 270. Has incredible skills. He is going to be a big-time tight end. How much you're going to see it this year, I don't know. They got a kid there by the name of Elijah Lofton from Las Vegas, who's a second-year kid, who I think is going to be he's just such a stud football player. And, I think he's going to be a real weapon for Miami, playing predominantly at the tight end position. But this Luka Gilbert kid's going to be really good. Brock Schott's a very good H-back. We'll see how some of these other guys develop. I mean, just looking at the list, I know S.J. Eftatuli is going to be, in my mind, a very good center. Joshua Moore, the wide receiver, I think is going to be a big time player. Malachi Toney is an elite slot receiver who I think you're going to see a lot of this year. Hayden Lowe, defensive end, way beyond his years. He's going to contribute this year. I think he's going to be a really good player. The Dalen Upshaw wide receiver kid is a real sleeper. He was a 3-star. You weren't expecting a lot out of him, but you watch him in practice. He just makes play after play after play. I think he's one of the steals of the class. Donta Simpson is another one, a defensive tackle, came in and as a true freshman in spring practice was making plays very impressively. Kellen Wiley Jr. is going to be a good linebacker, I believe. So it looks to me like it's a good recruiting class, Greg. And but do they need them to do a lot this year? I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. So just out of all of these guys, the guys that you seem the most excited about would be, of course, Nickel, but then you'll be Gilbert and Upshaw.
But like I said, there's a lot of guys on there that could pop.
Of course, yeah.
Max Buchanan's a good offensive lineman. I mean, it's a very good recruiting class. It really is.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the recruiting class. Now, of course, we're going to pop up the depth chart, the Ourlads depth chart, as we go through the transfer portal. And we'll start on offense. And, of course, you got Beck. And just starting with Beck. It's interesting because I think just from what I hear, and like you say, maybe they're like a sleeper national championship kind of deal, whatever. And that could definitely be the case. And he would be a huge reason why. And I think it's incredible that that's happened because like a year ago, just a year ago, before the last season, if somebody would have said that Carson Beck was going to start on the Miami Hurricanes, they would have thought, wow, Miami's got to be a true contender for the national title, because that's how highly people thought of Carson Beck. And all of a sudden,
Yes.
people just have soured on Beck. And I don't
Yes.
understand why.
I'm with you 100%. I don't understand it either. I mean, this is a kid that everybody thought was the best quarterback in the country going into last season. And yeah, they had some tough moments at Georgia. And it didn't come together for them offensively the way they would have wanted it to. But, you're putting it all on Carson Beck, and, then, you're playing for the damn national championship anyway. I mean, like, it's not like the team totally fell apart. He got hurt in the postseason. Ended up having to miss it at the end. But enormous pickup for Miami. I mean, this is a whale. I mean, but Pat Riley would call this a whale. He has to come through. They think he will. But you just never know in these deals. I mean, at the end of the day, these are games on Saturday afternoon, kids against kids. Okay. He's got to come through, but all signs are that he's healthy, and I'm expecting a really good model of Carson Beck. You might check back with me in a few weeks after they, go through some scrimmages and stuff. But I'm expecting him to be a really good quarterback this year.
Okay. Also on offense, would this be correct? Do you think that they'll have both Johnson and Daniels? I know Daniels more than Johnson, but talk about the rest of the offensive key transfers that you think will start.
JoJo Trader to me is a big key. I mean, he's a kid with enormous ability. Didn't get a chance to really show it that much last year. He's going to get a chance this year. They need him to come through. CJ Daniels is a little bit of a off the radar guy by way of Liberty and LSU. But he's going to get an opportunity to be a big time player this year and might be able to pull it off. The slot receiver where you've got Tony Johnson in there right now is going to be interesting. I think Malachi Tony is a freakish freshman that's going to challenge him quite a bit for playing time. That'll be interesting. I would certainly flip-flop him and Ray Joseph on that depth chart. Tony is going to be really special. The O-line, very, very, very good O-line. I think Matthew McCoy has a chance to beat out Ryan Rodriguez in training camp. And, the Brockemeyer kid came in through the transfer portal and is kind of like a stabilizer at center. I love the right side with Mainoa and as Cooper. So the Miami running game was one of the best in the country last year, and I think it'll be even better this year. Elijah Lofton, that tight end, nobody really knows who he is. I think they're going to find out very quickly. Just an incredible playmaker. Pound for pound might be one of the top 2 or 3 football players on the entire team.
Wow.
He could play several positions. He's just a freakish athletic kid. So that one will be interesting. And then at linebacker, the 1-2 punch of Fletcher and Lyle, to me, should be as good as any in the country. So very, very interested to see how this Miami offense comes together.
Okay, so those are the key guys as far as the transfers on offense. On defense, it looks like, according to Tucker, who does our depth charts, that is that accurate? You think there might be?
I think he's about got it right. Mesidor and Bain at defensive end are 2 veterans that have to come through. I mean, they have got to be big time players for Miami this year. I think they will be. Justin Scott, to me, is one of the keys on the entire team. Was a 5-star coming out of high school. Fair or unfair? I mean, I was joking with him actually this afternoon. They put the 5-star tag, which is great when you're in high school. But then when you get to college and everybody expects you to walk through the door and be an All-American, it's not always so great. And, he was a kid that needed to spend time in the weight room. Was not as strong as he needed to be to play college football. He's had a year to do that now, in a much better position. And this is going to be a big training camp for him. Ahmad Moten is a talented kid who at times just flashes and does great things out there on the football field, just doesn't do it consistently. And big question is, can he do it consistently this year? Linebackers at the middle linebacker spot, you could tell your boy Tucker, he's missing Mohamed Traore, who came from
the Rutgers kid. Yeah.
I think he'll be the starter at that middle linebacker position, and they're very, very, very excited about him. Wesley Basainth is another kid that just hasn't been consistent enough. He's a senior now. They need a big year out of him. OJ Frederick is the only real returning starter who really did much last year. And you see all these guys in yellow that you got there at the defensive back positions that came in the portal. And, they got to strike gold on some of these guys. And I think they're missing. I'm looking here. He's got Jacoby Thomas. Okay, yeah. I mean, Poyser and Thomas are two transfers that they're counting on a lot. Keontae Scott, kid from Auburn, being counted on. Xavier Lucas. I mean, these are all kids that they're counting on to be big time players. And then you look at the second team. You got Damari Brown, who's always been, injuries have held him back. We'll see if he's healthy. The Ethan O'Connor kid is a very interesting kid because he made a lot of plays last year at Washington State, and I think they're counting on him to be a big contributor here this fall. The Dylan Day kid at safety is one that should be on the cusp of breaking through. We'll see what happens there. He's a sophomore now. So they feel that this combination makes them much better on the defensive side of the ball.
Would the defensive backfield then, would you classify that as maybe the biggest question mark on the team?
To me, the biggest question mark is defensive tackle.
Okay.
These DBs have played some football and they got some talent. I'm more concerned about defensive tackle, than I am defensive back.
Okay.
Moton's got to come through and be consistent, and Justin Scott has got to develop in time for August. If those two things don't happen, I'm very concerned.
They don't have a whole lot of depth, it looks like, or at least
no, these guys, they got to come through. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, that makes
and
sense.
David Blay, from Louisiana, is a transfer that's a big deal also.
Okay. All right, so let's go with breakouts. You've been good with this. I appreciate this, cheer. Makes me look smart. So you've already mentioned Lofton's got to be a breakout, of course, because nobody knows who he is outside of Miami. So let's start on offense. So Miami's had some really good, as we know, tight ends, as good as any tight end factory in college football. So you're saying Lofton is just another one in the long line of great ones to come.
No question about it. The only question for me is how much is he going to get the football? But I got to believe he's going to get it a lot. It would be negligent a little bit if he didn't. I would keep an eye on the Jordan Lyle kid at running back.
Jordan Lyle, okay.
He flashed obviously as a true freshman. They quietly think he could be as good as any of the great Miami running backs that have played in the program. Yeah, they love Jordan Lyle, and Mark Fletcher's more proven. I think this will be a big year for Jordan Lyle. So in terms of breakout, I'd keep an eye on Markel Bell. To me, is a kid. I mean, big 6'7" kid. He came from junior college and has just made incredible progress over a year and a half now. I think he's going to be a very good player this year. Nez Cooper, the senior right guard, is a little underappreciated. He's a very good player.
Okay. And then on defense, give me some breakout players here.
Breakout players on defense.
Do you have enough confidence in Justin Scott?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
Nope. I haven't seen it yet. I got to see it with my own two eyes before I say he's going to be a breakout guy. They're hoping he's going to be a breakout guy. Wow. Armando Blunt is a guy that I think is going to emerge this year. Is a young kid who's been making some very quick progress. I would certainly throw his name out there. Kellen Wiley, who you're highlighting there, he's a freshman who I think is going to be very, very good. How much of a factor that's going to be this year, I'm not so sure. Okay. We'll have to see.
Seems like more breakout guys on offense, though.
There's no question. Yeah, okay. I mean, all these guys on defense are unproven, Greg. I mean, there's a lot of roster turnover there, a lot of transfer presence. But I feel comfortable saying Armando Blunt could be that
Okay.
breakout guy this year for sure. And I think the Traore kid, the transfer, is one
Yes. Yeah. He's
that
just got to stay healthy.
well, he's been hurt for like 2 years almost. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but if he stays healthy, he is going to be a big time player, I believe.
I agree. Okay. And by the way, how's the special teams going to be? Are they going to, is this an issue, a strength, just
It's a
another?
strength. It's a strength. I mean, listen, Bert Auburn had a rough end to the season.
Yeah. He had to leave Texas. Yes.
That's why he left Texas. It was going to be too toxic for him there. But from everything I've heard, he's shaken off that experience. He's kicking very, very well in workouts. No rush yet. It's just been kicking balls out on the field. Now they're going to go live in training camp. It's going to get a little bit better, a little bit more difficult. And this Carter Davis kid is a very good kicker, another transfer. So that's going to be an interesting competition. But Bert Auburn has the experience edge, I think, there, having kicked to Texas. And a punter with Dylan Joyce, they're in great shape. So, and they're picking up Marion is huge. You don't get to return a lot of kicks right now in college football, but when somebody doesn't kick it out of the end zone, the Marion kid, he's one of the best kick returners, if not the best in the country.
Okay. And then you've already, of course, you've gone through all of the pretty much every notable player, but who would be considered the top pro prospects outside of course, Beck? Give me, and of course, I know you've talked about a few of them, but people who may not really be attuned to what's going on with Miami, let them know who. And you mentioned a couple of them on the defensive line. Bain and Messidor have got to be up there, right?
Yeah, well, Bain for sure. Yeah, Messidor is not as highly regarded as Bain. He'll get drafted, but Bain is one that could go, could develop into a first rounder. Manoa at offensive tackle for sure is going to be picked very high. Carson Beck, if he has a great year, he'll get drafted. Could be a first round draft pick. Bell and Cooper to me have a shot to not be first rounders, but to attract significant attention from the NFL. So I'd keep an eye on them as well. And Mark Fletcher Jr., if he has a big year this year, will certainly get drafted.